Okay, welcome to the Mark Atwell Show, Adventures of the Beat Suits. Before I tell you who's with me, that good-looking bloke over there, make sure you sign up to the links in the description. There's a link there, Linktree link, and in there's my email list. I just got another video taken down by YouTube yesterday, and they don't like me very much. So get on the email list, and it'll tell you where all the other places I am, new videos, and all the other links to do with the show. But today, I am joined by one of my favorite people on this planet, and he's got better hair than me, better teeth than me, he's younger than me, he's probably a little bit better looking than me, a little bit, and his name's Theo van Dort. Hello, Theo.
Mark, it is an absolute pleasure to join you. You lunatic, you absolute lunatic. I've been watching over the last few months as you've just gone from posting these beautiful little poems, and then you're like, oh no, let's go full on. Let's just tell them how it is. And then I watched your YouTube channel go to 24,500 subscribers. And I'm just so celebrating that you actually just stood in your power and started to talk about what you believed in. Because I remember in the days when you were posting stuff online, and you know, your friends from Manchester and below were like, Mark, you're an idiot, Mark this, Mark that, Mark the other, and you used to just hold it. And I used to think, how does he hold that? How does he wake up in the morning, know he's posted something at night, and everybody's going to go, you. I'm just absolutely astonished by how well you've done this. So thank you for sharing your truth. It might not be the truth, but for sharing your truth, that's what's the important thing.
So that's a good get-out clause. I see what you did there. It's very good, very smooth. Well, you know, I mean, look, just to explain to everybody in the audience, this man has saved my ass a number of times, and I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And we met at a business thing a few years ago, and we made this course. Do you remember this?
I do remember that, yeah.
There's us on the back. That's me and Theo 7 years ago, nearly 7 years ago.
Yeah, maybe in my video studio. That was great fun.
And you remember when we made this? I was staying at your house, and you were like, "Where's, you know, have you got the course materials? Have you written, you know?" Because Theo made videos for loads of people, and they'd be like, "Wait, have you got the slides ready?" And I was like, "No." In fact, I think I stayed up, had a bottle of wine, yours in the garden, and then I woke up at 6 a.m. and on a piece of paper I wrote the syllabus. And then we started filming at about 8:30 in the morning. We finished at about 7 o'clock, and I did the whole. So this is like a 7-hour course. I did the whole thing off the top of my head.
Where's my face? Why is it just your face on those DVDs?
Because I'm the talent. You were just.
It's always been about you, Mark.
You were just. You were like the straight man. You were like the only wise in that one. No, look, there he is. Look, fresh faced. Look, no real grey hair there on me. Or white hair, no grey hair on me anyway. This is white. This is white stuff. Anyway, so Theo is basically a genius, and let's tell people a little bit about yourself. You know, because I might tell them a version you don't want me to tell. So,
oh man, that's a deep question. Where do you begin?
Well, I was born in 1970.
No, I worked. So I was at this business event all these years ago. My background's live TV, and then I ended up doing lots of different bits. And then I took my live TV experience, turned it into a video studio. We'd made loads of online courses with people.
Let's just explain that, because you've got like tens of thousands of TV presenting hours, haven't you?
1,800, I think we calculated it, which is still a long time when you divide by 24 hours in a day.
That is a lot of time, yeah.
A lot of time on presenting. And I was starting up this new video business, and I was at this event, and there was a lady on stage, and she went, "I'm going to help like 5 or 6 people in this audience to get their businesses off the ground." And I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this. And I'm actually quite a shy person. I'm actually an introverted extrovert, so I can switch it on when I need to, but most of the time I'm actually quite quiet and quite introvert. And so it took quite a lot of balls to stand on this chair and just suddenly go, "Whoa, yeah." And I think it's my acting background, but you can switch it on, but often you don't really want to switch it on. Anyway, so I just stood on a chair in the middle of this room of 4,000 people, and I stuck my hand up, and this lady on stage was like, "No, we're not ready yet." And I just stood there with my hand up in the air. And she was like, no, we're not ready yet. And I could see I completely flummoxed her. She went, "Okay, I promise you'll be the first to I'll talk to when I go." Anyway, so she was carrying on chatting from stage, talking about how, you know, do this and do that in business. And then finally said, "Right, now I'm going to help some people." So I stood up and I said, "I've just opened a brand new video studio in the UK where we make online courses. We help people to do this, this, and this." I had my entire pitch ready. and inundated straight away afterwards with all these people. My business coach was there, Paul Avins, and he said to me at the time, he said, go get business cards, man. You're going to be overrun. And I spent the entire lunch answering questions. I basically had a client base from nothing straight away. And then I got this email from this bloke called Mark Atwood. And he went, you and I need to talk. And I obviously was like, who are you? And he was, well, I'm sitting at the back of the room because he was VIP, because he was invited by someone there. And Mark Atwood and I then met, and we got on, and then we got on, and then we got on. And then the next thing I know, it's 4:30 in the morning, and we've had a couple of bottles of wine, and we've just basically, it was like meeting a brother from another mother. I hate that expression, but that's what it was like. It was just like, when you meet someone and you've just got that instant rapport and nothing's difficult, and you feel like you've known them for years and years and years, probably generations, probably previous lives. That's what it felt like to meet you, Mark. And we've been buddies ever since, and just watching how he's, doing these bits, and, moving to Morocco, and then moving back from Morocco, moving to Ireland, and now stepping into his true power of sharing all this amazing information. I'm just
well, I talked, I can talk, so I can talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but it's, I don't even know if this is going to be any use soon. We're going into a new world, and
we're going into a new world.
I mean,
I think we're all moving into a new world together, and that's what's so exciting.
That is what's so exciting. So I should just explain a few other things. So thank you for that description, but there are some experiences. Are we allowed to talk about those experiences?
Yeah.
Yeah. That Theo and I have shared. It's really been a spiritual friendship, and that included some spiritual adventures. In fact, I'll never forget my first ayahuasca ceremony, and we were lying together in the room, and I leaned back, and all I remember is seeing your face, and you just looked up at me like this and went. There's a big grin on your face, like yeah. You're about to understand what this is all about. Excuse me. Wow, incredible experiences, and you have. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you've just done incredible things. I won't go into all the details of the history, but the most recent thing, can we talk about the most recent thing?
Yeah, of course. Well, it's the most beautiful thing. It's one of those incredible synchronicities of life. And I ended up moving from Southwest London. I shut my video studios down, actually for my son, because we wanted to put him into a Steiner school. He is unschoolable, basically. He's now 11 years old. This was when he was 8. And we tried to put him in so many different boxes. He doesn't fit in any of them. He's a little entrepreneur ready to go. He's just stuck in an 8 to 11-year-old body. And
he's amazing.
So we moved to Forest Row in East Sussex in the United Kingdom, which is where A.A. Milne wrote Winnie the Pooh. And the 100-acre wood that people know about is actually 6,500-acre wood, but kids can't say that. So we lived on the wood, and we put Theo into the Steiner school there. My son's also called Theo. And it was just one of those amazing synchronicities, because after about 3 months, I just stopped and became a dad. Sometimes you just got to let life stop.
Yeah.
You just got to allow everything to collapse, to then allow the door to open, to know what's going to happen next. And it was one of those magic moments in life. And so I did. I just stopped. And then my beautiful beloved said one morning, she went, "What are you going to do then?" And I could tell the question was, "When are you going to leave the house? You're really beginning to annoy me." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "I'm interested in becoming a sound healer." And she was like, "What?" I said, "I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by the resonance and the tones and and the tuning forks and the Tibetan healing bowls and all these things." I said, "Everything I've done," I said, "I'm always interested in knowing more about it." And I said, "And I know that in Lewis, there is a crystal bowl shop. So I'm going to go there and ask how you even begin to become a sound healer." She was like, "Okay, it's interesting. I was not expecting that answer." Anyway, so the next day I'm off doing some stuff, and she has a lady come around to our house, and then she has a lunch, like, ladies get together, they're chatting away. And one of the ladies says, "Oh, you know what? I forgot. I meant to put on the community page on Facebook. I'm looking for a sound healing apprentice." This is less than 24 hours after I've woken up and had this conversation with my wife. And she went, "You've got to talk to Theo." Anyway, so then I talked to this lady, and her name is Nikki Luna Williams. And I rang her up, said, "I'm interested in sound healing. I hear you're looking for an apprentice." She said, "Yeah, I am." So I went to see her. And then she told me about the fact that she'd made this movie and she'd worked on this movie for over 11 years. And I went, what's the movie called? She went, it's called The Time of the Sixth Son. And I said, what's this about? She said, well, I spent 11 years. She said, I've just scraped together money as and when I can. And I've traveled all over the planet. I went, how many countries? We're at 16. And I said, 16 countries? She said, yeah. She said, I've filmed the different indigenous leaders of the different tribes. I've filmed wisdom keepers. I've filmed visionary thinkers. And she said, and I've got this almost finished product. She said, but I don't have the funds to finish it, or I don't know how to finish it. I said, if you could finish it, how would you market it? And she said, well, I'm going to go to the film festivals. I'm going to try and raise some money. And I said, there's another way. I said, there's a great way that I know of. I said, where you actually give the whole thing away for free. And she just was like, what do you mean you give the whole thing away for free? So, it's cost a fortune. I've got, these beautiful friends that have lent me money over the years. Nobody's ever wanted to sign contracts. It's all done on heart. It's all done on trust. She was like, I've got to some point pay all these people back. She said, I can't give it away for free. She said, no. I said, brilliant. I said, how much content have you got? And she said, oh, over 1,000 hours. I said, how long's the movie? She went, well, she said, I'm aiming for 108 minutes because it's a special 108, a special number.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. I said, could we take those 1,000 hours and cut it into a docu-series? I said, could we take like all of the best bits and take 8 subjects and go deep dive into what's not covered in the movie? And she was like, yeah, let's do that. Anyway, so long story short, we did that. We worked together for 3 years. And in April 2019, the sound healing went out the window after 2 sessions. We just became partners in that. And there's that beautiful universal synchronicity. And so now we have Time of the Sixth Son, and it's available. Anybody can watch it for free. And the way we do it is we just give everything away for free. So we give so much value up front because we don't want any financial barriers for people to be able to access this content. It's about the awakening human. It's about the evolution of consciousness. And it's about what's really going on in the world. And the most magical thing is, if it had been 2005, when she actually wanted to launch it, nobody would have been ready for it. But it would have been 2012, nobody would have been ready for it. And actually, when we launched, sorry, not 2005, that's when she started filming, but 2012, when it was supposed to launch, nobody would have been ready for it. But now it's so pertinent for today, and the wisdom doesn't change.
It's perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Just before this stuff happened, because this is the awakening.
At the moment, we've got like 8,500 people a week registering to watch it. We launch every Tuesday. We give the whole thing away for free. And we say to people, it's cost over £700,000 to put it all together. And we're nowhere near recouping that yet. But eventually, we sell ongoing access to it. So there's so much info in there that people go, actually, you know what? I'd like to watch that again. I'd like to listen to the audio file. I'd like to read the transcript. And there's incredible music from Estas Tone and 16 other artists in there. And so we sell it as a digital online package or a physical package where we actually ship it out. And a small percentage of those thousands each week purchase it, but it's enough to keep the business going and keep us running Facebook ads and getting people to watch it. And the testimonials are just amazing. I want to read you one, right? I'm just going to read you one testimonial from a lady that wrote to me yesterday about this. And she said, where is it? She said, let me just say this, and I think it will explain everything. My 95-year-old mother is the city kind. She's profoundly Catholic, never attached to New Age things or ideas, out of city living. So I questioned if she would like to see Time of the Sixth Son or not. I decided to let her see it. Her immediate comment was, everyone in the world should see this. And I was like, that is beautiful because it sums it up. It's not actually the best movie for people that already are on the path of awakening. It's actually a really great stepping stone into, oh my God, there's actually more going on around us than the media and the newspapers and the soaps that we watch on TV tell us. And so it's been the most magical journey. So thank you for asking.
Well, I told you he could talk, didn't I? I was so proud when you started working on that, because, and we kept in touch throughout that journey, and I know how hard you worked on this project, and it's just been amazing to see what you've managed to create. And I think I'm right in saying that I was at the prep. Was that when we watched it in the forest that time? Was that a premiere? It was a premiere, wasn't it? Yeah. So and the movie is fantastic in and of itself, but all the supporting material, I haven't watched all of that. I need to watch it, actually. Yeah, I need to watch it. Yeah, send me a link. Mind you, I'm getting like 1,000 emails a day now, and I've been up since 4 this morning, and I haven't gotten through everything. It's amazing. Anybody emailed me and I've not written to you? I'm sorry, I'm getting there. You know what that's like, because you've got thousands of people with Time in the Sixth Sun. So it's quite amazing that we've gone down these paths, because, but it makes complete sense when I think back to the way we connected years ago and how we were both trying to work things out in our lives, or trying to work out the spiritual path, because everyone's at a different point. But we were. I was certainly egocentric, and I don't know if I'm a bit harsh on myself there, but it's all about making money for the family, and it was all about money, and then situations happen which put you in a tailspin, and then you got to get through. And it was like everything was sort of speeding up, and then all this happened, with the pandemic. And you were in England when that happened, and now you're not in England, right?
No, I'm not. No.
Show us your surface hair. Come on.
My surface hair is properly big now. Look at this. I got.
Look at this. Beach bum.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm a beach bum.
You look like you're somewhere hot to me.
I moved to Forest Road to become a hippie, and then I moved here to become a beach bum. And that's the other thing. I'm blessed. I can work anywhere. I've got a laptop. How many people, the technology has just allowed us to do the most incredible things. And so I'm so grateful for that. It was about the 3rd week of September, and my beloved woke up one Sunday morning and she said, I've had one of those dreams. And I was like, oh, here we go. She's proper witchy witch. She's amazing.
She is.
And she said, we got to leave the UK. And I was like, okay, where are we going? She said, we've got to go to Bali. She went, I've just dreamt it. She said, it was one of those dreams. I was like, okay. I said, it's not an easy thing to do. So you can't just get it. Even back then, you couldn't just get into Bali. And so 30th of October, we're on a plane and we're here. Because it's just like when you get that knock, when you get that universal tap on the shoulder of just do something, everything will line up to make sure that it happens. So long as you trust the process and you drop the fear. The moment you jump into the fear, you create the blocks.
That's right.
And your ego gets in the way and you create those blocks. And actually we were just like, okay, let's go for it. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? It fails and we have to come back. Yeah. So actually, if you ever think about that, you think, will I be bothered? And actually, one of the best lessons I ever learned was, will I be bothered about this in a year's time? And if the answer is no, just go and do it. We get so happy. We're in a simulated reality. We're in a computer game. If you ever work with plant medicine, like Mark alluded to earlier, you realize just how much of a computer game we're in. Yep. And it's just like, if you get these opportunities, go for it. And I'm so glad we did. It was a massive thing. My wife and I have been together 19 years. We've got 2 kids. We had all of our stuff, all that baggage, and suddenly we're like, okay, we got 5 weeks to leave the country, and we managed it. We gave stuff away. We put stuff on eBay. We did that. And the one thing I was really worried about was sharing it with my mum, because she's on her own. My dad passed 15 years ago, and I was like, I didn't want to take me away. I didn't want to take my wife away. I didn't take my grandkids away. So I was building up to that go to tell her. And the day I was going to tell her, the house that we are living in Forest Row in East Sussex, a Zoopla property alert comes up, and I think, oh, that looks like a nice house, because the houses there just go so quick. It's biodynamic, it's organic, it's a beautiful place to live, very conscious community. And I was like, and then the house comes up. I was like, that looks like a nice house. I was like, that's our house. So basically, the house we were renting had been put on the market that day without the landlord telling us. Wow. And I was like, if that's not a sign from the universe to get the hell out, that's it. And I was just like, that's it. That's the final tick in the box. So I went to tell my mum, and my mum went, if your father was alive, I would do exactly the same thing. She was like, go, the quality of life you're going to have there, you're going to miss winter, everything else. And then, of course, 4 days later, UK went into lockdown on the 4th of November. I'm blessed. I'm absolutely blessed that we're here, and, the quality of life and the difference it makes, the sunshine. I'm also lucky, because I can work anywhere with a laptop. I alluded to that earlier. Lots of people couldn't do it, but I can, because as long as I've got an internet connection, I can do what I need to do. And it's stupid things, Mark, like you can park anywhere. You can pull up anywhere and you can leave your car, and you're not going to come back and somebody's going to put a ticket on it. There's no speed cameras. it's just all the simple things. Everybody rides around on a scooter. There's no traffic police. You go to junctions and there's just everybody is going everywhere, like you see in films. Like, you know, you watch those funny videos on YouTube of all these people driving, no, and nobody hits each other because everybody's in flow and there's no aggression.
Same in Marrakesh. You know, I lived in Marrakesh. It looked, from the outside, it looked like mayhem, but it worked perfectly. There were crashes. There were some, you know, people did get hurt, but generally speaking, it works because people are in flow.
It's the flow. It's the flow of the place. And
I mean, you reminded me of something there. Sorry to interrupt you, but you reminded me, when I was a little kid, I remember my granddad on my mother's side moaning. We were in a Ford Zephyr, had a bench seat, and I was sat in the middle between my granddad and my nan. And he was moaning about traffic lights. He's like, these are totally unnecessary and ridiculous things. And then he was moaning about roundabouts, hated those. And I was just confused because I grew up with traffic lights. So they seemed completely normal to me. But to him, they were just like a form of control. And that's exactly what they are. And the UK, I mean, when I left the UK in 2014, I think it was, for me, it was like a prison. The whole place was like a prison. CCTV cameras everywhere, police everywhere, speed guns, all the things you just said. And it's wonderful when you go to a place like Bali on holiday. But now you've been there for what, 4 or 5 months?
4 months, yeah.
Yeah. And I interrupted you. Sorry.
But it's the simple things.
Yeah.
It's the little things that you don't realize that are just on you all the time. You know, like when you're driving, I was living in London or even living in Sussex, there's speed cameras. And, you know, and you don't necessarily go out and think, I'm going to be an a-hole today and drive as fast as I possibly can. You get caught out by them. And the next thing you know, you've got £100 fines coming your way and 3 points on driving licenses. And then you try and contest it and you end up in court. And it's just like, for what? You know, I get it. Yeah, people drive like idiots and then children get run over. I understand that.
No, that's not why they do it. It's purely because the UK, like every other country in the world, is a corporation run for profit. That's the only reason. And it's also about control. You know, why is the UK? I mean, the UK is the hub of all this satanic control systems. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, from the traffic lights to the yellow lines. And none of it's legal. You know, those fines, you don't end up in court, because I've been through that process. You don't have to go to court at all because they're not legal. Once you understand common law and all of that, you don't have to go there. So the reason why I'm pursuing this avenue of inquiry with you is because I think there's going to be people watching this in the UK who are like, well, he's lucky, I can't afford that, and blah, blah, blah. But that's not why we're doing this. That's not why we're discussing it. What I think is really interesting when you go to a place like Bali is that you are living in a place that hasn't got this draconian control grid on top of you. And what does that do to a human being who's been in that? It's like coming out of prison, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never been in prison, luckily, because, you know, I'm not.
It's like what I imagine being. Before anybody goes, oh, has he been in prison? No, I've never been in prison. But, well, there was one night.
Actually, and do you know what, Mark? The rules here are actually so much simpler than they are in the UK, and this is a big thing that I've discovered and watched over the you know, from last March, where we were going to get locked down for just, you know, 2 weeks, and then that'll be it, and we'll control everything. And here we are, 11 months later.
The curve.
Here we are, 11 months later, getting ready for the new normal. Mm-hmm. And but in Bali, everybody has to wear a mask. Whether you're in the car on your own, whether you're on a scooter on your own, whether you are going into a shop or a restaurant, you have to wear a mask. One rule: wear a mask. And do you know what? Because people here don't actually believe it so much, and because they're just so gentle, they all just sort of get on with it. Now, you've got to remember, the majority of people were wearing masks here already, because the pollution and the traffic, when you're riding around on scooters all day and you're stuck in traffic jams, people were wearing masks, so they were used to it. So actually, having to go to wearing masks for COVID was not a huge change for them. But actually, you know what happens if you get caught? You have to pay 100,000 rupiah fine, which is about just over £5, which for the Balinese people is a lot. So that's one reason they do it. But I got pulled over on the second day we were here with my son on a scooter because I didn't know you were supposed to wear a mask because you're on a scooter. So we get pulled over. About 30 people got pulled over at the same time, and the expats all went in one line, and all the Balinese went in another line. But the Balinese, they didn't have the money to pay it. They made them do 10 press ups, get on their bike, and leave.
Oh, really?
It's just like, now that's the way to do it. It's like that. It's not draconian. It's just like, wear a mask next time, or you're gonna have to do another 10 press ups. And it was just like, and I was like, I can't believe that, and I would quite happily pay the £5 because I didn't know and everything
Well,
else.
no, I'd come there, not wear a mask just to get fit.
You'd have to do the 10 press ups and pay the £5 fine.
Oh, really? Oh, do they make you do it as well?
It's got a completely different energy to it. And it just doesn't feel like Big Brother's going to get you. I mean, did you see the beautiful video I sent you the other day of my friend Nick Smith in, that got arrested in Forest Row this week for doing his Monday soup kitchen?
Yeah.
So every Monday he gets the organic farms and the local pieces, to give this, and he gives away food to all these different people. So he did the same thing on Monday. On Tuesday, the police turn up. I mean, he's been picked up everywhere now because they're just like, he's survived cancer. He's a good man. He doesn't believe in everything that's going on, which is fair enough. And same thing, you know why they arrested him? Because he refused to give his name because he didn't want to enter into a contract with them. And there was a guy there that actually knew all about this, knew about how to be a sovereign being in your own right. And he said, at the moment you give them your name, he said, you're entering into contract, don't enter into it. And now he's got a solicitor, and he's even had people in Tennessee offering to pay all his legal fees for him because the world is waking up to the fact that actually, is this really about that, or is it actually about seeing how far we can go to control people, and how much are they going to take until finally they stand up and go, enough is enough?
Yeah, and then the big question then in the middle of that is, how much of this is actually happening and how much of it is theatre? Now, I happen to think that it's theatre because the plan for us was death camps and death and DNA altering, RNA altering operating systems inside our bodies, right? So
don't say that word because you'll get flagged by the bots.
I just said it. I didn't say the V word, did I?
No, you didn't.
And that, I've said on this channel many times that if the bad guys were actually in control, all of us would already be dead because that was their plan. And that is verifiable. Fact check that to death. You've only got to look at the Georgia Guidestones. You've only got to look at all the Agenda 21, Agenda 30. It's all there, and that's what they wanted for us. So I think a lot of this is theatre. But then what we've got then is like this massive divide, right? So there's the people that believe it's real and are in a state of fear, and they want to get the V just to get it over with. And then you've got these other people who refuse to wear the mask and refuse to bow down to authority, who know it's a crock of shit, who are then getting arrested for feeding homeless people. And,
the question is, though, this is what I can't get my head around, is it a crock of shit? Because,
yes,
because there are, I know people that work in A&E that are dealing with the most horrendous symptoms, but is it what it really is, or is it just a really virulent version of the flu?
When I say it's a crock of shit,
there's no flu this year.
Yeah, when I say it's a crock of shit, I don't mean that there's nobody dying from a V, little V, right? People always die from little V's and complications with the flu, and that's always been there, right? And the flu is multiple strains, and it's constantly mutating, and it's 1 year it's this, 1 year it's that. I mean, but
the V doesn't work.
Exactly. That's why the big V doesn't work for the little V, right? Because the little V, firstly, if you do some basic research, it's not transmissible, right? A small V is not, you can't catch it. It has to be put into you, or you're creating it as inside your body as part of your body's defense as an exosome, which is something that your body creates naturally when you're over-toxified, which is why the switching on of radar in 1918 coincided with the first big V program, and the radar coincided with 20 million people dying of Spanish flu. And this is not new. They've done this many, many times. And this is why, And it's because of all the misinformation and confusion and propaganda and lies and media and everything else, all put together in this pot, creates a very confused society, creates a reason for them to bring in all these extra measures and controls. Like you said, it's nearly a year now since they said 15 days to flatten the curve. Now it's like more lockdowns, double masks, triple masks. None of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense. So it has to be, whether or not the little v, I think there was supposed to be a killer virus or killer something, but it was stopped. And they basically rebranded the flu, called it the same thing, let the program play out, let the media, because they're all following a script. They had a predefined scripts. Governments around the world, most of them are owned by the Rothschilds banking dynasties, which are owned in turn by the Phoenicians, and all this chain, and there are demons behind all of that. So you've got this chain of control and command and a hierarchical structure. They took over the world quietly, without people realizing, over a couple of 100 years. And this was their plan. And people don't believe that because it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but actually we're in a sci-fi movie right now. Just look around you, just go to a local supermarket. It's like being in a zombie film. It's mad, right? So to answer, you said, I don't know if it's real or not. In a way, it's not that relevant, except when it comes to the big V question, because the big V question is the little v was created to get the big V into people, and the big V was the real danger. To get people so scared that they would take this thing developed by Gates and his gang. And that is a truly, truly dangerous thing to put inside your body. And whether that is real at the moment, nobody really knows, because yes, you're seeing people in A&E who are suffering and stuff, and there are doctors and nurses that believe that they're told it's COVID, but it doesn't make any difference whether it's COVID or the flu or whatever. It's something. And the thing that's, like you said, the thing that's disappeared is the flu. So the numbers of people dying are pretty much exactly the same as they were. They're less in Ireland, they're lower. Less people died in the last 12 months than in the previous 12 months, or in the previous 12 months of that, or that, or that, or that. So actually the death rate has gone down, right? Which may be a result of good things happening, like people growing their own food, taking more care of themselves, not working so hard, less stress. Well, different type of stress. The people who believe it's real, they're not as stressed as probably they were when they were getting up and going to work. Now they're getting paid for sitting at home and spending more time with their kids, possibly. Lots of different things, lots of good things have come out of this. It's like
loads of good things have come out of it. I
remember
that.
It's like a spiritual quarantine.
When we were doing the talks with when lockdown started in March of 2020, we said, well, let's just get all the speakers from the movie and let's interview 2 a week. So we were doing live talks at 2 times a week. They're all available on YouTube, and it was just incredible how much we got from people. Actually, our beautiful Havasupai medicine man, Ukwala, he said it's not lockdown. It's called sacred seclusion. So I just reframe it. It was like a chance to stop.
It is. That's the way I'm seeing it.
I love those pictures of the wild animals coming back into the streets, and in India, where you could suddenly see people that lived there for years and years and years had never seen the mountains, and when they shut all the factories down, suddenly the smog went away. They could see mountains they'd never seen before because of smog and all these things, and it was almost like Mother Nature, Planet Earth guy had a chance to breathe out. Everything stopped. There were no aeroplanes in the sky. Obviously there was huge amounts of hardship. There are huge amounts of hardship. I'm blessed. I grew up in a supportive, loving household. I grew up in, and my children are doing the same. But if your kid's stuck in a home with parents that just hate each other, in a domestic violence situation, you can't get away. For those kids, school was getting away, and now they can't go to school. And school is where they got fed meals, and they can't get away. The suicide rate, the depression, the small businesses that are being killed left, right, and center. It's just like, is it really? Where's the balance?
You and I could go on all day. Yeah, I know. We could go on all day about this, all these details. It's all very sort of 3D left brain thinking. What I'm interested in is that over the last 3 years, you've had huge exposure to indigenous thought leaders around the planet. And I remember learning with you, I think I was, when I learned about the the Hopi prophecy of the eagle and the condor being at this time, which is, as I understand it, kind of dark and light, sort of merging and coming through into a new age. I think there's lots of different terminologies for that, and there's lots of different prophecies from multiple tribes from around the world. So I'm wondering, what did you pick up any kind of like prophetic wisdom from any of those people that you interviewed in the film that did specifically talk about this time? Because it sounds like what the word that you just described, I can't remember what you said now, about instead of it being lockdown, it's
sacred seclusion.
Sacred seclusion. It sounds like that guy either has just a philosophy about stuff and came out of that, or knew that this kind of thing was going to happen to the human race. Because I do get that impression that this is a biblical event that we're living in at the moment. This is, and I say biblical, not specific. It's a huge spiritual thing that we're going through. It's not.
Yeah, it's a global awakening. And that's what it is. It's a global awakening, because people are starting to question stuff that they never even thought about questioning before. So they were so stuck in the day to day, and it's forced everybody to stop, and it's deeply uncomfortable to stop.
Yeah.
You know, we distract ourselves all day long with mobile phones and Facebook and YouTube, and then we're doing it on here right now. But it's different if you're using those tools for betterment of society.
Yeah.
Rather than just, you know, we're looking at this. I heard about this amazing thing. I heard this amazing thing. So Medicine Festival happened this year. I'll go back to answer your question, but I'm just while my brain's going this way.
Cool. Yeah.
I've got ADD. It goes like this. So Medicine Festival.
We've got VHS. It goes like that. Go on.
And it was the only festival, one of the only festivals that was allowed to happen in the UK, because they were supposed to have indigenous coming from all over the planet to become for this festival that was happening just outside of London. And one of the speakers there told this story that said there was a prophecy that said that the human race was going to become in deep trouble when they all got obsessed with a black obsidian mirror. A black mirror. And you know, when you hear something and you just get goosebumps all over, and I was like, holy moly. And you've all seen those, you know, those Facebook memes of, you know, couples lying in bed, you know, on their phone rather than talking to each other, chatting, making love, all those things. It's like we are addicted to I'm addicted to these things. I use it. You know, I have to use it because, you know, it's how we find people to come and watch this beautiful movie. So I'm using it for awakening. But, you know, how much of that stuff is just there day after day? But your question was, what are the amazing people that we've met? We traveled all the way to Australia to actually finish the movie. And I met this incredible, Nankari, and his name was Gary Simon Jagamara, Jagger. And he's half black and he's half white. And he says in the movie, he says, I'm too black to be white and I'm too white to be black. I'm just stuck in the middle. And he talks about the fact that they take plant medicine, and they can ride all the way up to the Milky Way, and they're called Jakupa. He says we can run forward and we can run backwards in our timeline. And he said, so we can see what's going to happen in the future. We can see what's happened in the past, and we can learn how to heal it. And it was all about this. It was just like listening to this guy. I mean, I think we talk fast. He was like us times 10. It was like, he just was like, just full of all this incredible information. And their sort of indoctrination, or their ceremony they have to go through to become Jakupa, or to become Nankari is harsh. Like, you know, they're chucked on the side of a mountain in Australia for 4 or 5 days with no water, you know, with no covering, anything else. And by the time they come down, they're an absolute gibbering wreck. And then they have to go through this entire initiation. And when you hear what these indigenous people go through for the betterment of humanity, and the fact that we're just so stuck in what we're going to watch on Netflix tonight, and this is happening all around the world.
Yeah.
And then, you know, think about the monks, the Tibetan monks that sit there, and they're actually, what they're doing is they're sitting there and they're tuning themselves into the universe in such a style that, you know, it can be absolutely freezing cold there, and they throw freezing cold blankets over them, and after 10 or 15 minutes the blanket starts to steam and it starts to get hot and it dries, because they have that ability just to focus their chi, to focus their energy at such a level that they can change their entire physiology. you know, and Wim Hof, you know, I
Wim
love
Hof.
the fact that Wim Hof stuff's coming.
I did that course last year.
Did you?
Yeah.
You know, with the breathing, you know, they call him the Iceman, and these incredible things that people can do. And it's actually, it's what the key thing with interviewing, because Nikki Luna interviewed most of them, because I only got involved with the project sort of 4 years ago, but obviously she started a long time before that. She interviewed most of them, but the key thing with most of them is that this message is the same. And that's why the movie is called The Time of the Sixth Sun, because it was based on, it's based on the Mayan prophecy. So basically, like a 26,000 year galactic cycle had ended. It was the completion of a cosmological age, and the Mayans were calling that the Pleiadian cycle. And during that cycle, the ancestors lived through what was 5 epochs or 5 suns, and each one of those lasted 5,200 years. And that the last one finished in 2012, and that's now why we're living in the time of the sixth sun. And the time of the fifth sun was all about solar energy. It was about war. It was about male dominance. It was about take. And in 2012, or actually what really looks like it's really occurring now, 2021, but it's 5,200 years. So we've got a bit of time to work it out.
Yeah.
We're moving into the time of the lunar energy, of the moon's energy, of the softening, of the time when the divine feminine will awaken. Please don't take me down the road of masculine, feminine. It's nothing to do with that. We've all got both in there.
Yeah.
And actually, the most amazing feedback we get, which blows my mind every time, is we get people still write to us and go, your movie is all about the divine feminine, yet it's heavily male speaker orientated.
Missed the point.
And I was like, that really is missing the point, because at the time, Luna was just traveling around trying to find whoever she could. And actually, it was mostly the men that would step forward and go, yeah, I'd love to be interviewed. A lot of the women didn't want to be. And so it's amazing that here we are in 2021, and there's still that straight away thing of very male orientated, very, you know, there's not enough female speakers. We're supposed to be about this. And actually, exactly, it's missing the point, because it's about the fact that we're moving into this time where the balance will return, rather than it being, you know, pendulum this way or pendulum that way. It's coming back into the middle. Obviously, it will take time to get there, but special time to be alive. We're blessed to be here. We've all chosen to be here at this time.
We have, and I'm really glad that I'm here. You know, I didn't want to be here a couple of years ago, but then I'm really glad I hung around, because the future, I feel extremely optimistic about the future, but I have to give a warning. I am an optimist, always have been. But it's great to hear you sounding so optimistic, and great to see you doing great things. Where can people get hold of the Time of the Sixth Sun?
People can sign up at timeofthesixthsunlaunch.com.
Cool.
So if you go to timeofthesixthsunlaunch.com, then you just enter your name and your email address. People are like, I don't want to give my email address. You know, well, first of all, we live in the UK, so we have GDPR, so we're not allowed to share any data anyway. Not that we really would. Our project's all about the evolution of consciousness and doing the right thing. And so people, you know, sign up with their name, their email address, and then we send them links to watch. And the launch starts every Tuesday. We send the movie on a Tuesday, and we send episode 1 of the docuseries on the Wednesday, and then that follows for the 9 days. You can watch the whole thing for free. And if at the end of it you've loved it and you want to watch it again, then you can support us by buying a digital or a physical package. And that's how we give it all away for free without any financial barriers. And Mark, the testimonials, just you know what the biggest thing for me is, and the biggest thing that warms my heart with the whole thing is the majority of testimonials I read go, I felt so alone. I felt like I was the mad one in my community, and I suddenly realized I'm not. And there are other people out there that think like me. And that's the thing that tells me
I'm getting hundreds of emails like that a day, and it's one. And by the way, everybody watching this that sent me those, thank you. It's very humbling to get those, and thank God for the internet.
Yeah, I mean, it's given us this incredible tool. Here we are. You know, here I am, 7,500 miles from you, and we're talking like we are in the same room.
Well, it's just fantastic to see you, and give my love to the family. I'm gonna go for a little lie down now, because I've been up since 4, and I need a little rest, because, you know, I'm getting on a bit. Wonderful to see you. Next time we do a talk, you've got to be outside on the beach, please, right? So we can all have a bit of.
I would love to do that. The only issue is there's not a lot of internet.
Oh, there's no. Oh, that's even better. Well, look, love to everybody. Great to see you. Thanks for chatting.
Mark, well done. Well done, because I remember a conversation that you and I had. I can picture it. I was sitting in my front garden in Forest Row, and you were like, "Oh, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm going to do." And I was like, "You are the one that has been pushing this stuff for years and been ridiculed for it."
Hmm.
And I said, "So you've got two choices. You can either just stop and you can do what everybody else does, or you can just go for it and see whether you find your tribe." And look now what's happened.
I'd forgotten about that conversation. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, it is a wonderful thing. And everybody should stand in their power, whether you agree with me or not. It doesn't matter. You know, stand in your own power and you'll find out who you really are.
Yeah.
And that's what's
At the
happening.
end of the day, they're your opinions. You know, I see some of the stuff you put out and I go, he's mad as a bucket of frogs, but I still love you. And then I see other stuff you put out and I go, you know what, he's got a real good point.
Well, for me, it's all about exploration. You know, I'm extremely open-minded, and this is about exploration.
Yeah.
You know, on every level. You know, I don't close. I've had people on here talking about all sorts of things that I don't necessarily agree with, but it's like I want to find out why they think that, because it's an adventure in a meat suit, which is what we're all here to do.
I love that. I love that.
Cool.
Because somebody said to me, "What's a meat suit?" I said, "It's your flesh garment."
It's
that
you.
Jack talks about in the film. He goes, "We're just here, souls in a flesh garment." Sorry about my bad Australian accent. But yeah, that's what he says. We are basically, we're just souls walking around. He said, you know, the only thing that gets left behind is the flesh garment. We're going straight back up there and reunited with everybody else. If you've done it right, you have to come back for a shorter time. If you've not done it right, you're going straight back down, do it again.
Exactly. So, you know, there's nothing to lose. So look, blessings to you all. Thank you very much. I'm going to shoot. I'll see you later.
Mark, thank you for your sharing it. Thanks for everybody that's watching. And yeah, timeofthesixsunlaunch.com. Sign up to watch it for free. And yeah, you'll join a huge tribe of people around the world that are loving the messages we're sharing. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Theo.
Yes, bye-bye.
Bye.